Hello everyone, thanks for watching. This is the third video that I've put together with regards to a project I've been working on since about, midsummer, maybe a little bit earlier than that, with regards to making a bent metal windshield, power flip windshield. Reason behind that is on the Gen 2 Commanders. Once you put a front and rear windshield in it, the cab tends to pull in a significant amount of heat. And unfortunately, the vents down at the bottom of the metal windshield, at least with the way the Commander hood is designed, does not seem to allow enough airflow in to help alleviate some of that heat. So with that, I'll end up showing several different things with regards to the brackets and how I've mounted it and how it works and what it looks like. Here's the brackets, two different versions. These are the pillar brackets. If you look at the very first video, you'll see, let's say, a primitive bracket. The top one here is a second version, and the bottom one's the final complete after the tabs have been welded in and painted. This is the window end bracket. This mounts the lower portion of the bent metal windshield. Again, there's several different versions that have been made, the top being the second version, the bottom being the third and final version at this point, after it's been welded and painted or covered with what I use as bed liner. Now we're going to let some video run of the window at different various openings, if you will. And what that'll show is there is a little bit of bounce to the window when it's open at the bottom. Again, letting a little bit of airflow through. Not bad for what I consider. At the same time, I don't have and have not seen other versions of power flip windows and how much they will or will not vibrate or bounce as the vehicles are running over the trails. So as you can see, the window's open a little bit, and what this does is let air in. Unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier, is the way the hood's designed. The vents do not let enough wind flow in. So what this allows is the wind flow to be able to come into the vehicle, flow around you without having the windshield all the way up, so you still get some of the protection of the glass from whether it's sand, bugs, debris, etc. The other thing to note in the videos here is these are trails up in northern Michigan, heavily wooded typically. Trails were not the worst I've seen them. There's some sections that are washboarded and a little bit more rough than others. They're not the greatest trails I've seen either. They're not, for lack of a better way of saying it, a two-track or a road. So there is some vibration and, let's say, bouncing, as you can see in the video, with regards to the window when it's only open a little bit. So moving on, we'll end up seeing a little bit more video once the windshield's all the way open. Ended up stopping in a field, taking a quick break on our trip, and then obviously open the window all the way up. Nice thing about the window opened all the way up is it's really no different than riding without a windshield. With the exception, you do see the window obviously hanging out there. It does bounce a little bit, as you can see. Again, not very bad. Nothing that looks like it's going to flex and or crack the glass. And again, this was with the version 2 brackets. The latest version, there's a little bit more support for the bottom or the end of the window, which should help eliminate that even further. With that said, it's wintertime here in Michigan, and have not been able to try the third version of the window brackets yet. Again, just some more video of trails and watching the window. Different, say, roughness of the trails, trying to get a good feel or a good representation so you guys can see what it looks like and how the window performs, if you will. And again, this is with it up. The window can go a little bit higher than perfectly horizontal to the ground, so you don't have to push it all the way up. You can put it to whatever opening length or height that you want it at, and it really doesn't affect a whole lot of the bounce, if you will, or any additional flexing. Like I said, just when it's cracked at the bottom, to my opinion, seem like it moves quite a bit. These are all taken later in the summer. The weather was probably about 80 to 85 degrees, so definitely getting the wind through the cab was a significant improvement on our riding experience. The other options we were looking at, honestly, was going to have to be to pull the window in and out, depending on the weather, which would work, but it's also a pain because if you have the bent window or bent metal window, you realize you got to take the top front portion of the roof off to be able to get to the bolts that hold it to there. The other thing is it's just a pain to add on and take off. So here's the pillar bracket. This particular one is the driver's side. This is from a company called Send Cut Send, is where I sent the files to get cut and bent. You can see the tab laying there next to it. What that will be for is, since I'm using shoulder bolts, what I'll do is tap that out for the bolt to go into. But that particular tab lines up into the slots, and then you can weld the back side and the bottom. The reason why I did it that way versus just trying to weld a fillet joint in there is it eliminates any potential for splatter or anything like that in the way of the actuators to be able to rotate pretty smoothly in that area. Again, this is just kind of showing how the 1/4 inch shoulder bolt would go. The brackets are designed with a 1/4 inch hole in them, and again the tabs, if you will, have a 1024 thread, so that's what they're tapped out to at this point. So here's the lower bracket. You can see the bolt on the left that goes through the 90-degree bend on the bent metal windshield. That's to help to give it strength in that particular direction. And you can see the 2 bolts on the right. Those are from previous holes I had on the version 1, but what those do is they help prevent flex in the other direction as well as give support down there. This is the pillar mount bracket. Again, stainless hardware is what I ended up using, but you can see the shoulder bolt at the top, and then down at the bottom you can kind of see the M5 bolt that we use to hold the bracket on. There's another M5 bolt up behind the actuator that you can't see at the moment. This is a video just showing where the window's coming down. You can see the 2 silver actuators that I got. In previous videos they were black. These silver ones move slower than the black ones. I'll probably end up putting the black ones back in. It just has to do with a different force that each actuator can output, and unfortunately that also impacts the speed. Now you'll have to have a reversing polarity switch to change the direction of the motors to open and close, so I have that in an overhead switch mount in the vehicle. Again, here's just some more video showing the window, if you will, when it's open and traveling through trails. Again, if you have some questions, go ahead and put them down in the comments, and I'll also include a bill of material down below as well.